Text and image. Such are the main connotation procedures of the photographic image. Once again, it is a question of techniques, not of units. To these many invariably be added the text, which accompanies the press photograph. 3 remarks should be made in this context. Firstly, the text constitutes a parasitic message designed to connote the image, to quicken it with one or more second-order signifieds. In other words, and this is an important historical reversal, the image no longer illustrates the words. It is now the words which structurally are parasitic on the image. The reversal is at a cost. In the traditional modes of illustration, the image functioned as an episodic return to denotation from a principal message, the text, which is experienced as connoted, since precisely it needed an illustration. In the relationship that now holds, it is not the image which comes to elucidate or realize the text, but the latter which comes to sublimate, patheticize, or rationalize the image. As, however, this operation is carried out accessorially, the new informational totality appears to be chiefly founded on an objective, denoted message in relation to which the text is only a kind of secondary vibration, almost without consequence. Formerly, the image illustrated the text, made it clearer. Today, the text loads the image, burdening it with a culture, a moral, and imagination. Formerly, there was reduction from text to image. Today, there is amplification from the one to the other. The connotation is now experienced only as the natural resonance of the fundamental denotation constituted by the photographic analogy, and we are thus confronted with a typical process of naturalization of the cultural. Secondly, the effect of connotation probably differs according to the way in which the text is presented. The closer the text to the image, the less it seems to connote it, caught as it were in the iconographic message. The verbal message seems to share in its objectivity. The connotation of language is inascented through the photograph's denotation. It is true that there is never a real incorporation, since the substances of the two structures, graphic and iconic, are irreducible. But they are most likely degrees of amalgamation. The caption probably has a less obvious effect of connotation than the headline or accompanying article. Headline and article are palpably separate from the image, the former by its emphasis, the latter by its distance, the first because it breaks, the other because it distances the content of the image. The caption, on the contrary, by its very disposition, by its average measure of reading, appears to duplicate the image, that is, to be included in its denotation. It is impossible, however, and this will be the final remark here concerning the text, that the words duplicate the image in the movement from one structure to the other. Second signifieds are inevitably developed. What is the relationship of these signifieds of the connotation to the image? To all appearances, it is one of making explicit, of providing a stress. The text most often simply amplifying a set of connotations already given in the photograph. Sometimes, however, the text invents an entirely new signified, which is retroactively projected into the image, so much so as to appear denoted there. "They were near to death, their faces prove it," reads the headline to a photograph showing Elizabeth and Philip leaving a plane, but at the moment of the photograph, the two still knew nothing of the accident they had just escaped. Sometimes, too, the text can even contradict the image so as to produce a compensatory connotation. An analysis by Gerbner, The Social Anatomy of the Romance Confession Cover Girl, demonstrated that in certain romance magazines, the verbal message of the headlines, gloomy and anguished, on the cover, always accompanied the image of a radiant cover girl. Here, the two messages enter into a compromise, the connotation having a regulating function, preserving the irrational movement of projection identification.